What's good, everybody? It's the Shotcallers coming at y'all. We had a couple of good games tonight. Unfortunately, it's just going to be me and Robin tonight. Richard, unfortunately, couldn't make it. His power went out. We're out here in Texas, and with all this cold
Crazy.
weather, yeah,
Yeah,
we're
it's
we're we're
crazy.
struggling out here. I know Richard or Robin right here next to me. He was having a tough time too. How you holding up?
Man, it's good. It's looking like the end almost. Just trying to get by, man. This is like we don't, we don't belong here, This is
Yeah, yeah,
Texas.
yeah. We out of our
But
element out here.
yeah, Richard will be back next week, of course, but it's
Yeah.
just gonna be us two today.
hmm Uh, I've been lucky enough to have power this whole time, and we were both lucky enough to catch both of these games. So hopefully y'all are staying safe out there, and thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Uh, so we got a couple of games tonight. A lot of things went on tonight. We had the All-Star starters announcement and all that good
Yep.
stuff, and then we had some big matchups tonight on national TV. We had Milwaukee and Toronto, and we have, of course, LA and Brooklyn. So we'll start out with Milwaukee and Toronto. Uh, this game, obviously, Milwaukee is trying to bounce back from a 5 game losing streak. I mean, unfortunately, now it's a 6 game losing streak since they lost to Toronto back to back. Uh, in that last game against Toronto on Tuesday, uh, I don't know. This Milwaukee team is like they're looking like playoff Milwaukee already. Cause you know how Milwaukee in the playoffs they fold. Like Giannis folds, Chris Middleton folds. Like their offense looks stagnant. You know what I mean?
I was actually
So
gonna say that. Yeah, no, it was
yeah,
there. I have it in my
yeah,
notes. It's there.
yeah,
You beat me
yeah.
to it, but yeah.
Yeah, I actually posted that on Twitter, so follow us on Twitter, by the way, at Shot Caller Show, just so y'all know. But yeah, I mean, I just have to point out Chris Middleton. You know, he was just playing like
You're already gonna bash him before we even do the Okay, go
I
ahead. It must really be on your mind.
I know
Go ahead.
it's really
Yeah, go
bothering me,
ahead.
man. Like yeah, Milwaukee should be, like the number one team. They've been the number
Yeah.
one team with the back-to-back MVP like for the past 2 years. They've been great in the regular season, but right now they're struggling. Even though Giannis, like he said in an interview, like, oh, we're not panicking, yeah, we're not worried right now. But uh, honestly, even though Giannis hasn't played perfect, it's not really exactly on him completely that the team is struggling. Obviously, they have Drew Holiday out, uh,
Yep.
but at the same time, he's not really like the main reason why uh, uh, Milwaukee is struggling. They've got some other issues going on. I'm gonna point out Chris Middleton. The last game against Toronto, uh, he played like really soft. Like he didn't attack. Like he had 11 points. He had 0 assists, and he's supposed to be like the facilitator, like the leader on the team. And he only took 8 shots and took 2 free throws and made both of them. Like that. That's it. Like for your second guy on Milwaukee, like that's not good enough. And tonight, uh, it was kind of the same story. Like he was playing mad soft. Like he went 5 for 13 and 0 for 3 from three. Like it's just not good enough from the guy that's supposed to be the second best guy on Milwaukee. What do you think?
I think that you're looking at your fantasy team too much because I know he let you down
I
tonight
mean, I
there.
mean, I mean, I,
Just
I
let
have
it
a
out.
point though.
Let it
I have
out.
a
Y-
point though. He's a second guy on the team. He's supposed to
Hey,
step up when
I'd say
Giannis is
during the
struggling.
game, your fist was probably like this, huh? Ready to fight him. Uh, no, go ahead and do the quick recap, and then I guess I'll get into it after that.
Okay, well, starting out the game, uh, Milwaukee was looking to bounce back from last week. Unfortunately, Toronto, a bunch of critics to Toronto, like they don't have like really like a star player on their team right now, but they were playing great defense. Like I have in my notes like right here saying they're playing like annoying defense because when you watch them, like their hands are so active, like they're always getting deflections, steals, forcing turnovers, blocks. They're good rebounding. Like forcing jump balls. Like, did you see Fred VanVleet rip the ball away from Giannis
Yeah,
in the like
yeah, I
first
saw that.
quarter? I
Yeah,
saw that. I lost my mind. I was like, man, like Giannis isn't supposed to let that happen, man. Like that's supposed to be he's supposed to dunk on Fred. Like he's too little, but he got stripped, and I it's a really smart defensive play, and really it just shows how good Toronto is as a team, and their chemistry is like really great, and it's really brought them back from from this early deficit that they had earlier in the season, and they're looking to get home court advantage in the playoffs. So they're going back and forth in like the first quarter, but after that, there's really no chance of Milwaukee like
yeah,
coming back. The, Toronto just held it together. Milwaukee went on a short little run, like I think at the end of the third or midway through the fourth,
yeah.
and but they never got close enough to really threaten Toronto. Uh, so what were your thoughts about the game?
Um, First of all, I'm there with you 100% on the Chris
Hmm.
Middleton needs to show up. If you're going to be that second, I don't even think he's the second guy. I think
Hmm.
him and Giannis are a duo. To be a
Okay.
duo or a big three, you have to be at that same level. And obviously, Giannis is a better player. Everybody, including myself, would be stupid not to choose Giannis over Middleton.
Hmm.
But when you look at the Lakers, you got LeBron and AD. When you look at the Nets, it was going to be Kyrie and KD until they went and got Harden. You need that second guy to be there nightly, consistent. Whether it's 3 for 15 shooting, he needs to go to the free throw line, play defense, facilitate, get boards, all of that. And I don't think Middleton. I think in the bubble he took that next step, but I
Hmm.
think this season he's going to have that trouble of doing it every night because we know you can do it here and there, national TV, game 3, game 5, game set, whatever. But to do it every night, that's a big step in the NBA that not a lot of people see. Like,
Hmm.
because every night you know they're going to be gunning for you. You know that oh he's Middleton, we're going to guard him, take him out the game. If you look at the way Norman Powell played him tonight, and even last week,
Yeah.
he was making Middleton look like 3 years ago, 2 years ago Middleton. Like
Yeah.
Middleton isn't an
Yeah. Yeah.
all-star player.
Yeah. Probably like
Norman
three or
Powell was
four.
swarming. He was swarming on defense. Um, but I think Drew Holiday is missed more than a lot of people think. When you look at the Bucks, they
Hmm.
literally had Giannis, who had his basic game of 20 points, I think 23 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. You had Middleton only scored 13 points and get 8 boards. You had Divincenzo. I don't even know how to say this guy's name. I see him all the
DiVincenzo,
time when they
Dante DiVincenzo.
that guy. He had 15 shots. Middleton only had 13.
Yeah.
How are
Yeah.
you going to be the second best player?
Yeah.
I
That's.
remember when Kobe used to take 20 shots and break like all of them, and he would
Hmm.
still take more because if you're the best player,
Yeah.
you need to be aggressive and stay aggressive.
Hmm.
Uh,
Shoot or shoot.
exact shooter shoot. But I think what Milwaukee, if you want them to beat those top teams in the East, they need Drew Holiday more than a lot of people think. To beat the 76ers, to beat the Raptors, the Heat, the Celtics, I think they can still beat without Drew, what comes down to it. But I think to beat the Joel Embiids, to beat them, Giannis is gonna have to play on defense, and then you're gonna have somebody
Hmm.
else to step out on offense. And even the Nets now. I don't think that with this lineup without Drew, they're gonna go far. But let's give credit to the Raptors as well. I said at the beginning of the season, I thought the Raptors were gonna win the East because of
Yeah,
the way
you
they
did.
played
You
tonight.
did.
No
Hmm.
Lowry,
Hmm.
and you got Fred VanVleet, who is learning amazingly about how to control the pace.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like the pace won in the game today because not only were they doing that wall formation on Giannis on defense, but they were doubling him. They were doing all this. They were mixing it up because of Fred VanVleet controlling the ball, making it
Yeah.
fast break scoring, making it slowing it down. Because the Bucks were the number one fast break team in the league, and they had
Yeah.
0 points on
Hmm.
fast break until I believe the third quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all on VanVleet.
Hmm.
Siakam, 27 points. I've been hard on him all year. He's finally stepping up and being that number one guy. You said they
Hmm.
have no star, and you are wrong. Siakam is a star, and he needs some
I
respect
mean,
on his name.
yeah. I mean, honestly, you're probably right there, but like, I, cause I guess I'm kind of comparing them. I thought of the analogy. Okay, on Utah, the star, probably the big star there is Donovan Mitchell. Uh, and when it comes to Toronto, you'll think of like Pascal Siakam as being a star, like not the superstar, but like definitely the number one guy on the team. Uh, and I just thought that Pascal Siakam is still like maybe just like a step down or a half step down from Donovan Mitchell, and he's like right on the cusp of being a good star, but he's almost there, in my opinion.
I think he's a star.
All right.
And then you had Norman Powell go crazy. He
Mm-hmm.
scored what 29 points, but it was
Yeah.
the efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
9 for 12 field goals, and I think he was 4 for 7 from the 3 point line.
Yeah.
That was something that was critical.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just to cap it out at the end, it's gonna be the free throws.
Mm-hmm.
The free throws were a big thing. It was a 14-point game,
Yeah.
and Toronto shot 22 from 23 from the line.
Yeah. It,
Milwaukee shot 16 for 23.
mm-hmm.
That's just 7 free throws right there, or 6 free throws right there.
Yeah.
Um, and Siakam was 7 for 7, and Powell was 7 for 8.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis shot 7 for 13, which was a surprise. He's going in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved how even though he knew he was going to get fouled, he still drove and stayed aggressive, which is
Mm-hmm.
something that's all about confidence. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you know you're going to get hacked, and you know you're going to go to the free throw line, and you know you're probably going to miss, you stop attacking. But he
Mm-hmm.
still attacked, and I love that. I think that's him just knowing that if he doesn't attack, this team is going nowhere. So that's what I thought was something crazy about this game. I would probably put this more on Toronto winning than Milwaukee losing because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Drew's a big piece. But I think Toronto played even without Lowry. I think they played how everyone thought they were going to play this season, like how they played last season. Uh,
Yeah.
so I put it
Uh,
on Toronto winning. I
mhm.
love them in the East, and if they play like this, they're going to be a team that no one's going to want to play in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about the free throws too, like Giannis ended up fouling out of the game.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
uh 5 minutes left in the fourth or something. So yeah, Toronto was definitely attacking the glass, forcing a lot of fouls from Siakam, Norman Powell, Fred Fred VanVleet. Uh, they were all attacking the glass and forcing fouls, like I said. So got Giannis in foul trouble, and that's critical. I mean, the thing about Toronto and Milwaukee, like they've kind of been a marquee matchup, especially in the playoffs, for like the past like 2, 3 years or whatever. So Nick Nurse and Fred VanVleet, like they've game planned really well for Milwaukee, and unfortunately for Milwaukee, they just haven't changed their offense that much. So the same plan from back in the day is still working now. Um, and the thing about Fred VanVleet too, Richard wanted me to bring this up. Fred VanVleet has stepped up in being a vocal leader on the floor, like you were saying. Like he's being such a great leader, especially when Kyle Lowry is out. Uh,
yeah,
in the first quarter, uh, Chris Boucher, Bobby Boucher, came in. They did a pick and roll. Bobby Boucher went up. He got fouled, it was a no call, but
yeah.
he wanted the foul. He was like, hey ref, he hit my arm, and then Fred VanVleet, he was like, hey, like he was like, get big, bro, to put it like
What the F word? What the F word in
yeah,
there? Yeah.
yeah. He
If you
said he,
watched the game, you would have heard it because I heard it,
yeah,
and I was like, "Whoa,
mm.
did they just allow that on TV?" But he said the F word not one
Yeah,
time. I believe it was like 3 times. I was like,
yeah,
"Is
yeah.
he? Who's he talking to?" Because if it's the ref, that should be a tech.
On
But
a,
he was
on
talking to his teammate.
On a side note, that's one of my favorite things to do when watching an NBA game, just like listen to the players talk and just like
Yeah.
so sometimes you'll watch the replay and you'll read their lips and you'll understand
Hmm.
exactly
Yeah.
what they're saying. That's one of my favorite things to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, Fred VanVleet, he's being a leader out there. He told Bobby Boucher, hey, get big. You gotta get big down there. And then next time down the floor, they did another pick and roll. Uh, he went up strong, and I think he either got the and one or he got a dunk. He had a
Yeah.
strong finish, and that's just an example of him being a leader and helping lead this team to a great win and putting them in good playoff position at the same time.
Big shout out to Bobby Boucher or Chris Boucher.
Yeah,
He had a quick 8 points and 7 boards
yeah,
on
yeah.
off the bench as a six man, but I think
Mhm.
what I loved most about what he did tonight was
Mhm.
contest the Giannis layups.
Mhm.
Because you know Giannis is gonna make some crazy layups, but all you can do is contest and not foul. And I feel like he did that. He
Mhm.
made Giannis miss a couple layups. Giannis made a couple layups as well.
Mhm.
But to have that 8.7 boards off the bench, knowing somebody can actually control the paint when Siakam goes and takes a seat. But the bigger thing is how they can play together, which is
Yeah.
going to be important because you want your best players on the court. And if two people can't play together, that's
Mhm.
going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
Kind of like
That.
how Westbrook Harden, like they
Mhm.
were amazing, and yes, they can play together, but I feel like they both played better with Houston when they were kind of on the court at their own times, leading the teams by themselves.
Mhm.
With Siakam or with the Raptors in general, you can mix and match whoever you want in a lineup,
Yeah.
and they're all gonna play well, which is
Yeah.
something that Nick Nurse has used to his advantage,
Mhm.
which I love.
They got
Um,
a great chemistry, and they're not only offense, but like all like their whole bench and all the role players, like they know their role and they play
yeah,
great team offense and team defense, because that's really what's important when it comes to stopping Giannis and creating that wall. Like it's not just one or two guys. You get the whole team involved, and you practice those rotations, coming over from the weak side and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I'll give Giannis a little bit of credit. Like in the first half, I noticed like when he was driving, he was making like smart passes at times and kicking it out to the open shooter. But uh, on it, but you need Giannis to create those open shots like himself for himself and finish and get fouls and stuff. Uh, Another thing about Giannis, like he's got to work on that free throw percentage too. Like
it's
he'll
going
he'll
up. It's going up.
it's going up, but it's still like pretty shaky. It's not perfect
Yeah.
yet, but
Hey, but I
yeah,
mean,
that
there's a lot of players that never had good free throw shooting.
yeah.
LeBron, Luca
I
did it
mean,
last season.
LeBron hasn't had like perfect. I mean,
He's
LeBron's
been in
free
the
throw
60s
shooting.
before.
Well, yeah, he's been in the 60s, but he's normally in like the 70s. Like
Yeah,
that's a little below average from where you want LeBron to be, but
yeah.
uh like it's still better than Giannis for the most part. Like for Giannis, it looks really awkward and he really needs to clean up his free throws, especially because he's driving all the time. So he needs to
Yeah.
be able to capitalize like as much as he can, like optimize it as much as he can. And
He is only 26, which I think a lot of people forget. This man is only 26, you know?
that's a good point. I did
Yeah.
forget that.
But at the same time, today, I know I said Toronto won the game and Milwaukee lost it, but
Hmm.
Milwaukee did what they needed to do. They had 13 more offensive rebounds than Toronto. It was 15 to
Hmm.
2. With Siakam being 6'9" playing center, oh yes, you know Brook Lopez, you know Giannis, you know they were gonna attack the glass, and they did. They had
Hmm.
13 more offensive rebounds, but again, I just don't see that third scorer because
Yeah.
some teams have that 1-2 scoring tandem. Like for the Lakers, we'll talk
Hmm.
about later. Kuz is that third guy that needs to step up. With
Hmm.
Milwaukee, they don't have a third guy. Well, they had Drew, but he's not playing. I mean, Brook Lopez, he's going to give you about 10 a game. But if your second scorer, Middleton, can't
Hmm.
even be consistent, there's no way you can have a third scorer. And I
Yeah.
think tonight we kind of found out Giannis, shout out to Toronto doing that whole wall formation defense, but not doing it every play because you know they're going to make adjustments. But to just have him come down, he thinks, oh, it's one on one, and then bring in a double team. Usually he doesn't face that. He faces a wall defense. He doesn't face double teams anymore. Um,
Hmm.
which was great. I like that. I think that kind of got him out of his funk. I think he shot 8 for 20. Like Giannis usually shoots about almost 50 something percent, sixty
Yeah.
percent
Hmm.
field goals.
Hmm.
So I think that was something that I really liked there. But really, other than that, do you have somebody that kind of stood out was the player of the game for you?
It's really hard to say. I think you said it earlier with Norman Powell. But like I was saying, or we were both were saying, like it was really like a team effort from
Yeah.
Toronto. Like you had good performances from a lot of guys, like not too many mistakes. Um, they
You better
had
give me an answer though. You better give me an answer on a
well,
person though.
I did. I said
You
Norman
said Norman
Powell.
Powell?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. All right.
uh, they had one new starter put in. I forgot his name. In the words of
Uh,
Flight Reacts, I don't know who if you know who I'm talking about, but
you talking about
uh,
DeAndre Bembry? Bembry?
something like that. But
Yeah.
in the words of Flight Reacts, I would say, oh, he's a nobody. He'll be out of the league in a couple days.
Whoa.
But no, no,
Okay.
no, no. Toronto had one starter. I don't know his name. Forgive me, but yeah, he played like really hesitant and like you could tell like it was he was nervous being out there. Like he had a couple of open shots like he just passed up, and he's a guard, and he had the ability to shoot. Like he shot later on in the game, but like yeah, you could tell he was a little bit nervous, and he's a questionable piece. But other than that, like Toronto looked really good.
For me, it's gotta be Siakam. I know Norman Powell, he's a lethal scorer. You're gonna get these
Hmm.
type of games from him here and there, and then some nights you're gonna get a 3 for 8 shooting, a 3 for 12 shooting, a 5 for 18. But for Siakam to shoot 50% and score 27 points, and the thing I love about him is he's becoming more of a facilitator. He had 5 assists today. Usually, I think he's averaging around that amount, and he has 6 boards.
Hmm.
2 for 4 from the 3 point line. I just like how he can stay dominant. In the fourth quarter, the Bucks were making a run a couple of times, like you said earlier, and
Hmm.
he would come down. He made an and one layup on
Yeah.
Giannis, and then he made almost another and one layup, and he made the two
Mm.
free throws, which
Yeah.
is big. As
Hmm.
you know, free throws are a big
And
part of the game.
yeah, and it kills
And
their momentum too for the
yeah,
Bucks.
and Siakam also on defense stepped up and played Giannis. I know he's not the most dominant defensive player that
Hmm.
Toronto has probably, or even they want on Giannis. But for him to step up and do that, to be that type of leader on the obviously Lowry and FEV are going to be the vocal leaders. But they're gonna go as far as Siakam takes them, as far as who's gonna be that guy they give the ball in the fourth quarter. And I
Hmm.
think he stepped up, and my fantasy team stepped up because I have him on my fantasy team. So that's another shout out. Thank you, Siakam. But no, Siakam for
Yeah,
me definitely was the MVP of the game tonight for
yeah,
sure.
you have Giannis and Siakam on your team. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got
that was
some
a
good
good night for
picks. Yeah,
me. And I got
yeah,
Bobby Boucher.
yeah. Oh, you got him? I thought somebody else had him.
Not happy.
Okay. Well, that's a good pickup. All right. Now let's move on to the LA Brooklyn game. I'm sure a lot of people were looking at this game and getting all excited, LeBron versus KD, all that type of stuff. But unfortunately, you had Dennis Schroeder out, KD's out with a hamstring. Uh, Schroeder was out just because of safety protocols and stuff like that. Robin, you want to give us a recap on that game?
Oh yeah. At first, I thought it was gonna be a really good game. Lakers got out to a 5-0 start, and Brooklyn was looking lost on offense. They were shooting some jacked up jumpers that eventually started falling.
Hmm.
5-0, and then ever since that 5-0 lead, I think it was smooth
Yeah.
sailing for the Nets. I think the Lakers kind of kept it close in the first quarter, but
Hmm.
they ended up down 31-24. And the second quarter, it was just more of the same. I think it was just the shooting that Brooklyn had and the
Hmm.
Lakers didn't.
Hmm.
Um, Brooklyn's bench came up. I forgot what's that one guy's name. Timothy Lawuwu Cabaret. That's
Oh
his name
yeah.
is Lawuwu.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Lawuwu. You looked at
Yeah,
me weird. It's Lawuwu.
no, I was trying to. I didn't know him by his first name, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. I was trying to remember how to pronounce his name. I can't pronounce his name either. It's like
Cabaret.
uh uh
Sometimes I
Lou
think that's
Bat,
a type of wine.
yeah, something like that. But yeah, I can't pronounce his name like at all.
Yeah, him, Joe Harris stepped up. I think obviously, as I've said it on the other episodes, I said it tonight. You know what your duo is going to do, your star player, your big three, whatever it
Hmm.
is. But it's about the other players as well.
Hmm.
And you can see today the other players made Brooklyn win, while the Lakers didn't have those other guys.
Hmm.
But they had an 11-point lead going into half, and then you were like, okay, this game's gonna start slipping away. You
Yeah.
can kind of see that the Lakers just don't have that depth at the moment
Hmm.
because these guys that are starting were actually coming off the bench,
Yeah.
and you kind of started seeing it. And then the third quarter, same thing, all about the threes. Lakers would score a couple baskets, and then bam, a quick three by Joe Harris or Labu Cabaret. His name is just so fun to say. I don't know why. It's something you just smile when you say it. Um, And then Harden, being a facilitator. I think he played point guard in Houston for a couple seasons. And Rich, I'm glad he's not here today just because there's no slander we can say. I know Rich is a
Yeah,
big James
there's.
Harden guy, and
Hmm.
there's no slander I can say for him. He did what he needed to do, 23 and 11, but just making sure everybody got their touches. I know he had a couple threes that he would have just jacked up in Houston, but he made the extra pass to Joe Harris in the corner or to Lawu Cabaret. I'm gonna keep saying his name now. These fans are gonna be like, why is these guys keep talking about
I
this
know.
guy?
They're gonna think this
No,
dude's
but I mean,
crazy.
this guy was he made five threes. I mean, that's 15 points.
Yeah,
Um, and Kyrie Irving, when you need a basket, give him the ball, let him go to work.
yeah,
Probably the best handles in the league, maybe the best finisher, left or right hand.
yeah, probably.
Um, and then after the third, nearing the end of the third, you thought, okay, Brook, it's over. And then Marcus saw a quick three, LeBron layup and one, missed the free throw. Free throws are critical.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh, and so are closing out quarters. So it's 5-0 run, okay. And then in the fourth quarter, it just blew open. I
yeah,
think it was a couple early threes, and from there, Brooklyn just had easy win from the start. In
yeah.
reality, it was more of a wire to wire lead for Brooklyn. I
Hmm.
don't think that the Lakers kept it that close the whole game,
Hmm.
but they were in striking
Yeah,
range. They would cut it down to like 10, 12, and then it would go
yeah,
back to
yeah,
15, and then back to
yeah.
7, and then
Hmm.
they just couldn't make that. They would get into the game, but they couldn't take that jump to make it a tie game or
Hmm.
a one possession game. I think that's all about when LeBron went out, you can see that their offense didn't know what to do. They didn't have
Hmm.
a guy to give them a basket. They didn't have an Anthony Davis, a Schroeder,
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
that can make their own shots. They had
yeah.
Wesley Matthews and KCP out there, and Kuzma, who did have an amazing night tonight, efficiently.
Uh,
But
yeah.
I don't think they did all that. That being said, what are your takeaways for this game?
Uh, early, you know, early in the game, you had Kyle Kuzma step up, especially in the place, because he not only is Dennis Schroeder out, but AD is out too, which is a huge piece. Um, but you saw him step up and make a couple of shots like very early on in the game, like right at the very start. But then after that, like he kind of went missing, and LeBron didn't really have a great start to this game either. Like he was struggling, like he wasn't hitting any threes, he wasn't getting any calls. Um, so he was struggling at first, especially in that first quarter, and I think for most of that second quarter, up until the end, like right before halftime, I think that's when he hit that turnaround fadeaway from the baseline, and
Ooh,
LeBron doing crazy stuff, But other than that, yeah, like the Lakers, like other than LeBron, like nobody really like stepped up. I mean, I would say they did their thing on defense. Like they did there were some miscommunications here and there, but like one-on-one defense was
yeah,
there, and you expect that from Alex Caruso, KCP, Wesley Matthews, stuff like that. Those are able-bodied defenders, like, and they're able
yeah.
to uh, at least nobody can really guard Kyrie Irving and James Harden, but you at least got to make them work and not give them easy buckets. And I feel that they were trying to make them work, but it's just Brooklyn's like other than James Harden and Kyrie. Like everybody can shoot threes, like everybody. Like Joe Harris is lighting it up, like Landry Shamet, uh, Lou,
Say his
say
name.
yeah.
Say his
No,
name.
you say his name. You can say it. I can't say
It's Timothy Luwawu Cabaret.
it.
I think I'm butchering
I
it, but
I
cabaret is what they were saying on
no
TV, so I feel like it's that.
no. You're absolutely butchering it. Like I remember hearing the announcers say his name, but it wasn't like that.
It's not cabaret.
No, it's not
All
Cabaret.
right, whatever it is, we'll call him Luwu. We'll call
Yeah,
him Timothy. We'll call him Timothy.
but yeah, they just light it up from three, and obviously there's questions about Brooklyn's defense. Uh, I don't know if you saw this, but they just signed Andre Roberson, which
Yeah,
is a really good wing defender. So that'll just help their chances. But I mean, their lack of defense, like their defense doesn't look that bad because like they just make like so many threes, like so many threes. It's kind of reminiscent of James Harden back in Houston, like
Yeah,
where they had teams where just everybody could shoot a three. Only the only difference is they didn't have like a Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant, for that matter. Um, so I mean, I'm kind of worried. Like I'm really torn on this Brooklyn team. Like they have the talent to like win the finals and everything, but I'm just like
oh yeah,
their lack of defense at the moment. It's just it like scares me because I think back to Kobe Bryant and rest his soul. Um, I think back to what Kobe said about James Harden and how those three-point shooting teams and they'll never win a championship like that and for James Harden's entire time in Houston, like what Kobe said, was true. Uh, he wasn't able to win a championship like that, and it's kind of the same here in Brooklyn, but you have a lot more talent here in Brooklyn. Just Kevin Durant,
yeah,
Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, like they can all get a bucket. And then right now with James Harden, like he's showing you that he can facilitate and get other players involved too. I mean, obviously DeAndre Jordan is not a three-point shooter, but he's getting plenty of assists from DeAndre Jordan, like just off a pick and roll or getting a cut. Throwing the oop, just like it's just they're it's just crazy to think about like because their offense is so like unguardable. It's you want to
yeah.
say that just because of their talent like they'll win everything, but I'm not comfortable putting my money on them, yeah, despite their talent.
No, I can do that. And for your fact there, everybody on the Nets besides DJ and Roberson shot a
Yeah,
three.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, Roberson just got in at the fourth quarter after they took LeBron out.
yeah,
Uh,
he only had 4 minutes in the
yeah,
game, but he's
yeah,
not a known shooter. That's why
yeah.
OKC
Uh-huh.
never made that jump. But
Mhm.
just a quick box score, real quick.
Yeah.
Harden had 23 points, 11 assists, and five
Mhm.
boards.
Mhm.
Kyrie had 16, 7 and 5, 7 boards, 5 assists.
Kind
Joe Harris, good.
kind of a quiet game from Kyrie, but
Yeah, not
they
not
didn't need him
a
to show up like too much.
which I think he's okay with.
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't know. You never
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
with Kyrie, but I
Mhm.
think he's okay with the game he had and then
Mhm.
winning by 11.
Yeah.
But Joe Harris, 21 points, 7 for 10 from the field, and
Mhm.
6 for 7 from the 3-point line. That
Mhm.
efficient shooting uh is gonna get them to that next step. Now his free throw shooting though, I mean
It's
he's a 60.
yeah, it's
He
weird to
yeah
me. Like I always thought that like if you're a good shooter, you're
yeah
a good free throw shooter, but it's weird. I don't know. I have to look closer at it is to see if it's his form or something or like I don't know what it
yeah.
is, but like
I don't know
when
because
when
I
you
mean
when you're
I
like
was
an
saying because when
automatic shooter like that, like
yeah.
I would think free throws would be automatic too.
That's what I'm saying. Because when you looked at like in the past, Ray Allen, the Reggie Millers, the Dirks, the
Yeah.
Steph Currys,
Mhm.
they're basically automatic from the line. The
Yeah.
Damian Lillards,
Yeah.
um, and then Timothy. I'm just gonna say that 15 points, 5 for 8 from the 3-point line, and
Mhm.
he led Brooklyn with the plus 18, plus minus,
Really.
which is yeah, which means he was not only scoring those 15 points, but he was playing defense and he was hustling, which
Mhm.
they need. They don't
Yeah.
just need
Yeah.
3 pointers; they need people that can play defense. And Joe
Yeah.
Harris even tried to take a couple of charges on LeBron,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that means more to them knowing, hey, he's just a shooter, but he's out here trying to take charges on
Mhm.
a 6'8", 250 guy.
Mhm.
And then for the Lakers, I literally only can say two. It's LeBron with 32 points, 14 for 23 from the field, not bad at all. But
Mhm.
1 for 6 from the 3-point line, the
Yeah.
one coming in the fourth quarter when the game was
Yeah.
kind of out of reach.
Yeah.
8 boards and 7 assists, typical LeBron game.
Yeah.
And Kuzma, 16 points, 7 for 13 from the field, and 10 boards. So Kuzma did step up. 16 and 10 is what you need from him.
Uh, I mean, I feel like in a game like this though, when you're down Shooter and Davis, and you're going against a high firepower team like Brooklyn, like you need like more from him. I guess you could say the same thing about the other players on the team, like KCP. He could have done more. Alex
Yeah,
Caruso. I mean, he's not known for his offense, but uh, like more guys can step up on that team, and they needed Kuzma to step up more than he did. Because in my opinion, well, from what I saw from the game, like other than that first half, it was fairly quiet. Kyle Kuzma, he's a really weird like player to me,
player. Yeah,
because
yeah,
he'll give you flashes where he'll hit like a three in your face, or like a turnaround fadeaway jumper and stuff, and
yeah,
he'll look cold, and then like the next couple of possessions, like he'll do something goofy, and like he'll have like bad footwork, or like he'll lose the ball, or like lose his dribble or whatever and almost throw it away, and it's just like really weird. Like he has the talent, but it just like it flip flops like a lot. Like you would think, oh, maybe it'll flip flop. Like maybe he'll be good this game, and then he'll be bad like another game. But it happens like in the game. Like he'll be
yeah,
really
yeah.
good in a couple possessions, and then he'll be really bad a couple, like the next possession. And it's really weird to me. It bothers me, and like if I guess it's more of a, I guess it could be like a footwork thing, but it's also like an IQ thing at the same time. But uh, like he still has some improvements to make. Especially if they're expecting him to be the third option on the team.
On Kuzma though, he had two quick
Hmm.
threes in the first quarter, I believe,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he went over 3. I remember one three that he shot. I believe it was the fourth quarter, early fourth quarter, when the game was about 12-point game. So still
Hmm.
come back. The Lakers could have, but
Hmm.
I remember LeBron passed it to him, and he was going like this to
Hmm.
pass it to the.
Yeah.
I think it was THT, and then him to
Hmm.
pass it to Gasol on the post, and Kuzma just chunked up a three.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can't shoot those quick threes, especially when
Hmm.
you're down. You're two of your top 4 or 5 best players. You
Uh,
gotta make every possession count.
yeah. Especially when you're teammates with LeBron, because that's how you get traded.
That's how you get.
Yeah. That's how you get traded, and then your career goes nowhere ever again. But I mean, eh,
Non-debatable.
I mean the thing too, I saw in the game, like I saw a lot of frustration from LeBron from the teammates. Like they
Mm,
would just they would end up like missing their rotations somewhere, and like they would be running all over the floor chasing the open guy, or they would just like fail to box out, or like just get caught ball watching, and then end up
yeah,
giving up an offensive rebound. And every time LeBron was just you could see it, like he turned around, or he made a face, or he was, he was talking to his guys, like he was frustrated out there with them. He wasn't happy with the performance. And uh, I expect, the Lakers to step it up, especially when, you have LeBron as a leader. So,
yeah.
everything he touches turn to gold. Like it looked a little rough out there, but I expect them to at least like turn it around somewhat.
Yeah, quick fact, real quick. The Brooklyn Nets were 18 for 39 from the three-point line. The Lakers were 8 for 30.
Yeah, yeah. It's
10, that's a 10 difference right there. And when you look at teams like last week, we were
30
talking
points.
about, I believe, the Mavericks.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, they shot 50 something three-pointers. And
Uh-huh.
I believe they made like 10 or 15 of them.
Well,
I feel like Brooklyn,
yeah, you were talking
they're,
about when they played Golden State, right?
yeah, they were just
Mm-hmm.
chunking up threes. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like with Brooklyn, they're shooting more efficient three-pointers.
Yeah.
It's not like Houston, how you brought them up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Brooklyn, they're okay getting the mid-range jumpers and they're okay attacking the paint.
Mm-hmm.
But to only shoot 39 threes in this modern NBA is
Mm-hmm.
kind of a good. That's where you need to be at in the
Yeah.
30s at least. If you do shoot less than 30 threes, you're probably not gonna make it as far
Mm-hmm.
anymore, which I hate to say it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but for them to shoot that efficiently is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Free throws, 15 for 24 for the Nets, 10 for 14 for the Lakers. So the Lakers
Yeah.
shot a better percentage, but I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. If LeBron, Gasol, KCP, and Horton Tucker are the only guys getting to the free throw line in the game,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like that's because Shooter would usually get to the line, AD would usually get to the line. But if you only
You
have,
expect Harold to get to the line a little bit too.
yeah, you expect him to get to the line, but for them to only have 4 people to go to the line and only shoot 14 shots, I mean, that's a 10 free throw difference right
Mm,
there. They
mm,
lost what by 11.
yeah,
You gotta attack, and you can't just. Well, they didn't even fall in love with the 3 point. They shot less 3 pointers too, so I don't know
yeah,
what they were doing, but
yeah. I think I saw during the game the Lakers were outscoring the Nets in the paint, but the Nets were just hitting so many threes.
yeah. And the Nets points or turnovers I think was a big difference. The Nets had
Mhm,
25, Lakers had 14. The
mhm,
Lakers love to run, and if LeBron's not in there or if it's just Kuz, LeBron will start that fast break. If it's just Kuzma,
mhm,
he's gonna run the fast break, stop, dribble around a couple times, and pass it or take a little fadeaway jumper. They just had no like flow. Like
mhm.
what you watched Toronto in the first game,
Yeah,
Fred VanVleet was controlling that pace, which is really
mm,
important in the NBA. Chris Paul does it.
yeah,
I feel like all the young point guards look at Chris Paul to how they can control pace. Ja Morant is amazing at controlling pace.
mhm,
Dame can do it, Steph, but Brooklyn could do it because they have Harden, and when he goes to the bench, they had Kyrie. The Lakers,
yeah,
if LeBron wasn't there, they didn't have nobody to
mhm,
control that pace. And then points in the paint, the Lakers outscored them by 22, 54 to
mhm,
32, which they should have.
yeah,
But again, it's a 3 point lead, and when Brooklyn shoots about 47% from the 3 pointers, it's gonna pretty much go in their favor. With the star power they have,
mhm.
it's not gonna look good for the Lakers.
Uh, I think another thing with Brooklyn is why they get so many like open threes and good looks on threes and they're shooting such a good percentage, especially for Joe Harris, is because like the gravity and the respect that you have to give to James Harden and Kyrie Irving, like you got to be glued to those guys at all times. So they're able to generate those wide open looks and making shots easier for everybody else on the team. So that's another big thing, and then especially when KD is out there, it's like you have to be glued. It forces you to play one-on-one defense instead of like zone, 'cause zone gives up a lot of threes. But uh, you have guys, those three-star players like, and they'll beat you one-on-one like all the time, all day, every day. Like that's their bread and butter. Like ISO, like it don't matter that's game over right there. So. Uh,
Yeah,
it's it's definitely a different situation, these Brooklyn Nets, compared to like the James Harden Houston Rockets.
yeah.
Uh, but but
You gotta
it's
see it to believe it.
yeah, yeah,
You
we
gotta
gotta
see
get
it.
there. It's like it's historically you see you've never seen like I don't believe you'll have any teams that win the finals that are so bad defensively yet so good offensively. Like it's
Yeah,
always most of the times it's always like they're good offensively and defensively, or at least
yeah,
like solid in one of the areas. So uh, I'm hesitant, even though like every day like they'll get like a big win, like especially that last win over Brooklyn had over uh the Phoenix Suns where they had that huge comeback.
yeah,
Like it makes you want to believe, but like I'm nervous about going all in on them. I mean,
yeah,
they're looking like they are going to be the first seed in the East, like I predicted. But that when I predicted that was back in during Christmas, and James Harden wasn't there. Uh, Karis LeVert was still there. Like he didn't have cancer, you know. So a lot has changed
yeah.
since then, but inadvertently, my prediction could still be correct.
Yeah, quick point though, as you were saying about three
Mhm.
point shooting teams making the finals. If you play defense, you have a better chance. Look at
Yeah,
last year with the Heat. They played
yeah.
defense. They weren't the
Mhm.
best 3 point team, and they made it all the way to the finals.
Mhm.
I just think defense is going to be the big thing because everybody can score if they're open, or
Yeah.
most people can. I shouldn't say everybody.
Mhm.
Um, but it's can you actually contest him without fouling? Can you go grab the
Mhm.
rebound and then can you start the fast break? So defense
Mhm.
is bigger than a lot of people think. And then as far as last thing I'm gonna say about the Lakers is if Kuz, KCP, Caruso, and Wesley Matthews go 5 for 15,
Mhm.
and Joe Harris and Timothy, I'm not gonna say his last name,
Yeah.
but if they go 11 for 15, so they two people make more threes than your shooters at a much better percentage.
Mhm.
That's a big problem because you're there. You know LeBron's gonna bring a lot of attention like Kyrie, like
Mhm.
James Harden. But if you can dish it out and they're not
Mhm.
making the three, you're kind
Mhm.
of killing their whole game plan.
Yeah.
I remember in the first quarter, LeBron had the ball,
Mhm.
and I think Jeff Green was watching LeBron. He just threw it over him, and Kuzma made a corner three. I saw that so many times with Brooklyn when
Mhm.
James Harden got past THT or got past somebody or Kyrie got past somebody. They would just dish it to the corner, and every three that Brooklyn made, besides maybe a couple fast break ones, were uncontested or they were defender was closing out, but it was a catch and shoot type three. Those
Yeah.
aren't going to be something that you're like they need to quit shooting those, even if
Mhm.
they were 10 for 39 or 10 for
Yeah.
40. Those aren't threes that you just pass away. Those are open threes that you
Mhm.
have to take in the NBA. But again, if we're looking that far into the future, if you're looking to the playoffs, whatever you do in the regular season does not matter. I
Mhm.
don't think it's going to matter this season just due to the fans not being there, whatever, whoever plays home, whatever it is going to be. But can you stay with that same system if it's not working for a game or two? Like, I
Mhm.
know you're going to make adjustments, but are you going to just go back to like Milwaukee when they make the playoffs and
Yeah.
teams kind of make adjustments to them and they make adjustments back and sometimes they don't work right away? Like, what do? They just kind of fall down and, they stop being dominant. They stop doing all that. If Brooklyn stops doing what they are doing so good right now in the regular season, what are they going to go to? Just shooting a bunch of contested threes?
Mhm.
I don't think with KD that'll happen because KD has never taken bad shot after bad shot after bad shot.
Yeah.
But knowing where Harden has came from and even Kyrie at times,
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
that's one ball to pass around to a lot of people.
Mhm.
And if Joe Harris doesn't get his touches and all of that, it's just going to be something you have to wait and see, especially with three dominant offensive players, probably the
Mhm.
three of the top scorers we have in the league. I mean, they can all be debated as the best scorer.
Mhm.
Um, but for all that to flow together and work with the first time head coach and Steve Nash,
Yeah.
it's something you just got to have to wait and see. And
Mhm.
I can't wait. I still think the 76ers are going to have the jump in the East.
Mhm.
I think they'd finish first if anytime the 76ers play a Milwaukee, a Toronto, a Brooklyn, if Embiid takes over, like he
Mhm.
should as an MVP frontrunner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with the Nets, you never know because their potential is unlimited.
Yeah.
But
It's sky high. They're
something that we never seen.
mhm. They're definitely going to be forged by fire when it gets to playoff time. Uh, and then even going into this game, you wanted to call it like a finals preview potentially, but just with KD and AD out, like
Yeah,
it's kind of tough to call it a finals preview just because those two huge pieces like they're out. So there's still some mystery there when it comes to this matchup. Um, Final score was 109 Brooklyn and then 98 LA. I didn't say the final score for the other game for Milwaukee Toronto. Toronto won 110 to 96. Um,
yeah. Quick question.
yeah.
Or who was
No.
your MVP of the second game? And then I'll ask the question.
MVP of the second game. It was I mean, I definitely I'll go with the easy answer. I think it was James Harden. Like he he's definitely stepped into his role there, or at least from what we can see, he's like controlling the offense, uh, and he's getting other guys involved, like really well. Like he's lead. I think he's leading the NBA in assists right now, isn't he? He's just
He's up there.
yeah. He's done a really great job so far, and he's the reason why they're doing so well right now.
I'm gonna go with shooter Joe Harris.
Oh yeah,
You touch
yeah,
the ball 7 times from the
yeah,
3 point line, you make six of them. When you
yeah,
talk about being that third guy, that
yeah.
fourth guy, tonight he was the third guy. Usually he's
Mhm,
gonna be the fourth guy.
mhm.
He's gonna have to be that guy that you can't help off of. And I feel
Yeah,
like LeBron was getting mad at his teammates for helping off of
yeah,
Joe Harris.
yeah. I saw that
He
too.
was, you can see his frustration, especially with Joe Harris being the number one 3 point shooter in the league right now. You can't help off certain guys, and if he's one of those guys to where the guy is glued to him, you're playing 4 on 4,
Mhm,
which is a lot easier. But if your guy helps off and he's shooting 21 points on 10 shots, making 6 or 7 from the 3 point line, That's what it's gonna make Brooklyn so much scarier come playoff time, however far they go. It's gonna be not on that big three, but it's gonna be on those surrounding pieces,
Mhm.
starting with Joe Harris.
Yeah. So, well, there's still a lot of questions to be answered there. It's still we're reaching the halfway point in the season. The All-Star break is coming up. We but so we still got some time to get stuff figured out and for guys to get healthy and all that. Uh, Speaking of the All-Star game, we'll just move on to this real quick. There's a bit of controversy about Luka making the starters over Damian Lillard. Do you think Damian Lillard was snubbed from the starting spot?
So y'all know I'm a big Damian Lillard fan. I love that guy.
Mhm.
But we have to remember this is not about stats, numbers, not about any of that. It's about fan voting. It's a
Mhm.
popularity contest.
Mhm.
Luca probably has more jersey sales. Luca is 21, 22. He's young. He's third
Mhm.
season. He's getting better every year. He was all pro last year, all-star starter last year. Crazy in the bubble in the
Mhm.
playoffs. And this season, yes, his record is down, but you can say the same thing about Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a popularity contest. I think Luca has done enough, I should say,
Mhm.
to be a starter. If it was Steph or Dame, or if it was Dame and Luca, or if it was Luca and Steph, as it is,
Mhm.
whatever three of those three, whichever two started, I wouldn't be mad with.
Mhm.
Obviously, I would like Steph to start because he is crazy
Mhm.
in the MVP watch. Probably not a front runner, but he's definitely in the watch, just like Dame.
Mhm.
Um, I think they got it right. I think the fans technically got it right because Luca is one of the players to where you want to watch him play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether he's not just jacking up far threes like Steph and Dame, but his footwork in the paint, his crazy vision. I think he might be the best passer in the league right now. Um, he's somewhere you want to watch. He stepped up on defense this season. A lot
Yeah.
of people haven't recognized that, but his defense has gotten a lot better. But at the end of the day, I don't think that the fans can or the voting can ever be completely wrong
Mhm.
because it's 50% voting, 25% media, and 25% players.
Yeah.
So if the fans are completely wrong, the players and the media they'll get it right. But
Mhm.
I I wasn't really that upset about it. If Luca didn't get the start, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But
Mhm.
because they both have crazy good seasons this year, but I think it was fine. If it was the other way, I wouldn't be mad as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not that big of a deal either, but at the same time, I feel that Damian Lillard has been snubbed from the All-Star game like for like most of his career, and he definitely, I think, deserved the start here. Damian Lillard has had like he's in the MVP conversation right now. What I might ask you about that in a little bit. Uh, but just his impact on his team winning is like
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
way larger than Luka's right now. Because uh, the Mavericks they aren't doing the best right now in the win column. They're definitely improving right now. But the Trailblazers like every game like Damian Lillard because Damian Lillard is there for them down the stretch. They're down CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic, and their team is battling injuries, but he's coming up huge like every single game, and you feel his impact every single game. Like it's really crazy, and uh, I guess it's kind of because Damian Lillard like really stepped up like just recently in these past couple of weeks where
yeah.
Lucas
He goes on those crazy runs for like
yeah
a week or two where he's just
yeah
unstoppable. Looks like he's
yeah
like the
yeah
goat.
yeah so uh that's also kind of the thing with all-star voting. Like it kind of bothers me because it is a popularity contest. Like that's what it boils
That's
down
all it
to.
is. Yeah,
Its point is to get fan interaction, get the fans involved and stuff like that. Uh, but when you have all-star like pinned to a player like as a all-time accolade, helps you get in the Hall of Fame and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of tricky to balance that out. Like getting fan involvement and respecting players' legacies at the same time. Because like there've been plenty of all-stars snubs, like I said, like Bradley Beal last year. Probably should be like a 2 or 3 time all-star. Damian Lillard has been snubbed in the past. Like he was snubbed last year, or last year wasn't it, or the year before that, where he only got in because somebody got injured.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
last year was Devin Booker who got snubbed, and
Oh
but
yeah.
my thing is I hate when people say snub because there's
Yeah.
only going to be like 12 spots,
Yeah.
and you're choosing from 15 teams, and almost every team's going to have one All Star candidate.
Hmm.
And I hate the word snub because just because you didn't get chosen for the top 12 or the All
Hmm.
Star team does not mean you should replace somebody. It just means
Hmm.
that the fans love somebody more as a starter.
Yeah.
And then on the bench, it just means you weren't picked. So I don't like the word snub. But I can see some snubs, yes, like they do happen, but
Hmm.
you got to think it's so hard to get the perfect lineup in an all-star game because
Yeah.
someone's always going to get snubbed off.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, but Dame's probably going to be an all-star. Have you announced the starters?
No, I haven't announced the starters. You
Oh, so
you go
for
ahead.
the Western Conference, it's Steph Curry making his seventh All-Star appearance, Luka making his second back-to-back starter, LeBron making his 17th All-Star game,
Yeah. Crazy.
17th start. That's
Yeah.
a start in his second season, which is a record, I believe.
Yeah.
The Joker,
Hmm.
MVP frontrunner, making his third, and then Kawhi Leonard making his fifth. And then for the Eastern
Hmm.
Conference, you have Giannis making his fifth, Bradley Beal actually making his third, so he does have three.
Hmm.
KD making his 11th, Joel Embiid making his fourth, and then Kyrie Irving making his seventh. Do
Hmm.
you feel like there was a snub on the Nets? I mean, not
Uh, the
that's what I
Eastern
was gonna say the Nets,
Conference.
but the Eastern Conference. Yeah, I know my snub already what it's gonna be, but
I mean, in my opinion, in the Eastern Conference starters, not really. I think it's cool that LeBron and KD are the All-Star captains for uh the respective conference, like they're captains against each other, which I think is cool and interesting. But other than that, I think they got the picks right for the most part on the starters. It's the reserves that is really a toss up. I think especially in the East right now. Who do you think was
yeah,
snubbed?
I think Harden should have made it over Irving. I think
Really?
Irving sat out too many games this season. Um, I still think either of them is not a bad pick, just like the whole Dame
Hmm.
Luca. But I would rather have Harden out there. I mean,
Hmm.
coming off that game he just had against Phoenix,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think maybe I'm just caught in that hype.
yeah, yeah.
I would
Recency
have just loved to
bias.
see Harden get the start over Kyrie, but not mad. Harden's probably going to be the first person picked up
Yeah, yeah.
uh, on the reserves, just like Dame's going to be the first one on the Western Conference. But I wanted to bring a quick point. You were talking about Luka not having the best record like Dame,
Hmm.
and Dame being a MVP front runner, and Luka's kind of in the MVP watch if his record gets up there and he
Yeah.
makes the playoffs.
Hmm.
But the All Star game is not really about MVP, which
Hmm.
I look at the same way. I think a lot of people do. Like, oh, Dame's top five MVP right now.
Hmm.
He should be there because Steph, LeBron, the Joker, Embiid, Giannis, the other five MVP people, because probably put Dame in that top six, are starting.
Hmm.
But at the same time, just because you're MVP frontrunner does not mean you should be a starter. It's all about the fans. You can be doing your thing.
Hmm.
I can say most of the time the fans get it right, but sometimes it's hard, even as a fan. You can't
Yeah.
vote Steph, Luca, and Dame because you know LeBron's going to start. You know
Yeah.
Kawhi has to start, and you know
Hmm.
the Joker has to start.
Hmm.
Steph's going to start regardless. What he's doing this season is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but
And he
it's
also has
hard
a
to do
couple rings
that.
to his name.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's hard to say someone got snubbed. It feels that way always. It's always
Yeah.
gonna feel that way.
Hmm.
But it's hard to get the perfect lineup. And I was just gonna say that yes, Dame is the MVP. He's in the MVP watch for sure. But All Star Game is all about popularity at the same time.
Hmm.
So because there's sometimes like last year, Bradley Beal should have made the All Star team. Devin Booker. There's a lot of people that should have
Hmm.
made it, but it's hard. It's hard to get it right.
All right. Yeah, yeah. That's definitely true. It's yeah, every year you hear about players getting snubbed and everything. So it's nothing new. Limited spots, only like players can have great years, but there's just not enough spots. Um, But let's move on to the last, probably quick question I want to ask you. I think, do you remember last week when we were talking about MVP predictions? Has your MVP prediction changed at all, or is it still the same from last week? Because,
I still I still have the top five as the
mhm,
same.
yeah,
I got Dame, LeBron, the Joker, Embiid, and Curry.
hmm yeah,
That's that's my top five at the
hmm
moment. I think
hmm
Giannis is six, but I feel there's a disadvantage of being a MVP winner,
hmm
especially like this soon, is because you get compared to your old self.
hmm
Uh, Prime example, like 2010, 11, when D Rose won it. I'm a big D Rose fan. I love D Rose. I know you're
hmm
a D Rose fan, so I'm not gonna
yeah,
try to bash him.
nah,
But
nah, yeah,
LeBron should have won that. LeBron's stats got better from when he won the MVP. They were second in the East. I guess you can give that to D Rose. And I'm
hmm
not gonna get into a whole debate right now.
yeah, yeah,
But people were comparing, oh, LeBron was number one last year and he was scoring more points, but
hmm
now he's getting more assists and more boards. So technically he's having an overall better season.
yeah,
Giannis is having an amazing season. I think statistically on paper it's better than last year, but a lot of fans love to do this to where you look at him last year, you look at it this year, you're like, well, the record's down. He's not scoring as much as assists. Yeah, but if you look at the game, he's probably better on defense, all this type of stuff. So I
yeah,
that's why I don't have Giannis up there, but I think mine is gonna be LeBron. For
hmm
him, what he's doing, shout out to him as well. He scored 35,000 points tonight.
oh yeah, that's a huge
Uh,
milestone.
yeah. I just think for what he's doing in his I think his 18th year, is outstanding. He finally fixed that 3-point shot, making him a threat from that
hmm
distance. Playing all these minutes, playing back to back to back overtime games, providing clutch moments in those games. It's like all the knacks that he's had. He can't shoot. He's not clutch. All of those are slowly going away.
hmm
He was clutch in overtime. He could shoot the three. I think it's LeBron. I thought it was gonna be LeBron last year, honestly. So I
Yeah,
can see if he
yeah,
doesn't get it today or this season. Um, I think it should be LeBron, but I wouldn't be mad if it goes to Joel Embiid for sure
hmm
because they're number one in the East.
yeah,
I would be a little bit upset if it went to the Joker because they are, I think, eighth in the West. I think for you to be an MVP winner, you should at least be in the top four in your conference.
hmm
That's just me though.
yeah. Uh, yeah. Last week I said I was kind of torn in between Joel Embiid and LeBron. But my top five are the same, like uh LeBron, Embiid, Curry, Damian Lillard, and Joker. I would say Nikola Jokic has slid down the list. He's probably like number five right now, just because the Nuggets are struggling in the win column right now. Uh, but there's great stories all around, like for LeBron, for Curry, for Joel Embiid, for Damian Lillard. Like I think it would be really cool if Damian Lillard won his first
Yeah,
MVP.
yeah.
That'd be badass in my opinion.
That's
Uh,
what I'm rooting for. That's
yeah,
what I'm rooting for.
yeah. And then, but there's also a great story like with LeBron winning like his fifth MVP and like his what year is this for him?
18th
Eight
season.
in his 18th season. Like it's just a testament of how great he is. Like how he continues to be great for so long, uh, even in different environments. Uh, like in the East and the West, doesn't matter. He's good all the time. Like more than good, great all the time. There's a story behind Joel Embiid, like number one in the East. I mean, I guess the story is a little weaker there in my opinion, but he's putting up the numbers, and then especially if they make it far in the
Keep winning.
playoffs,
Yeah.
uh uh he'll definitely be like his story will grow there. But I guess I would pick Damian Lillard.
Dame is who I'm rooting for. I want
Yeah.
him to win the MVP, but
hmm
I wouldn't be mad with any of those five names because Steph Curry is having a crazy season.
He's going
And I don't want to
nuclear.
be that guy. I don't want to be a
hmm
Max Kellerman, but I don't want to be a Kellerman but eventually this craziness is going to have to slow down, if you know what I mean. And I don't want to be that guy to say, oh,
hmm
he's not going to keep it up all year. But losing Draymond is bigger than a lot of people think.
hmm
And what he's doing right now is crazy. And I hope he
Yeah.
keeps it up all season because it's
Yeah.
amazing to watch as an
Yeah.
NBA fan.
Mhm.
But for what he's doing, it's gonna. I'm not saying he's gonna go ice cold,
Mhm.
but he's gonna have to come down to earth sometime. Because right
Yeah.
now he's shooting from the clouds, and it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Dame. I love Dame. I think it's gonna be LeBron, but I wouldn't be mad with any of those five
Yeah.
guys.
Mhm.
If it somehow goes to Giannis, I would be a little bit upset.
Yeah, I would be too.
Quick question though. So, other than those six people, a lot of this name has been coming up a lot in the MVP talk. What do you think about Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant, I mean, he's definitely, I mean, he's number one in All-Star votes in the Eastern Conference. Uh, he definitely has been playing like amazing since he's been out there, but he, I mean, he's definitely an MVP candidate, but he's just he could sit himself out of winning MVP this season. Or at least for me, probably.
Yeah, I think he's missed a lot of games
Yeah,
already,
yeah,
unless he goes crazy.
yeah,
And also, I just can't give you MVP if you have a two-time MVP on your team
yeah,
and then Kyrie on your team. Not
yeah,
saying I'm not saying they're a super team like the
yeah.
Warriors were,
Uh-huh.
but I just feel like if you can sit out and your team is still climbing the East standings,
Yeah.
then obviously you're not the most valuable for your team.
Hmm.
Sure, you can take him to that next step. I think like if you take LeBron away from the Lakers, they're not gonna do nothing. You take Joker away, you take Embiid away. If you take Dame away, Steph away,
Hmm.
those are big jumps. Even if you take Giannis away, that's a big jump.
Hmm.
But for them to take away KD, they can still win. You can
Yeah.
make that argument with Luca. If they take Luca away, oh, they're not. You can even see when he goes to the bench, they
Yeah.
turn into nothing. But
Yeah.
um, that my like
Hmm.
just question about the whole KD and the All Star talk. I
Yeah.
mean the MVP
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah. So I think that'll wrap it up for us today. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. We wanted to have a little bit more fun, keep it casual, have a conversation, not just with us two, but follow us on Twitter at Shotcaller Show as well as Instagram. This will be uploaded on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. The video will also be uploaded on YouTube. Everything. We're on everything. I don't even know like everything that we're on.
Half the stuff
Richard,
that Rich says,
yeah,
Richard
yeah.
knows. He
I
says
know
all
Richard
these
knows.
podcasts,
Yeah,
Google Podcast, Google Store, whatever,
yeah,
wherever you can get a podcast, we are there.
yeah,
I
yeah. We're
promise you.
probably there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Shot Color Show. Not the Shot Color
Yes.
Show. Shot Color Show. Uh,
We are being more active. We're
mhm,
tweeting about games during games. Kyle's done a great job so far because he's had power this week, unlike others, myself and Richard.
yeah.
But we are being more active on there, talking about games. Shoot us some questions that we can talk
Mhm.
about on the show, or that we can respond to just on Twitter or Instagram. That's it, really.
Yeah, just hit us up. We're trying to grow our interact with y'all. It's not just us two or us three. We're not blocking y'all out. Feel free to comment, and we're gonna try our best to respond. Uh, all right. Thank y'all for joining us, and y'all have a good night.
Be safe.
Peace. All right.